Welcome to the MSJC Internet Authoring Videocast.
In this guided practice video, you'll be learning simple methods. And when I say simple method, I'm referring to a method that doesn't take in any data, nor does it return any data. So you can see here I've created a new Java project in NetBeans. I've named it GP7A, and so we have a class then that is also generated from that name, GP7A. And what we want to do is add a new member to this class, a new method. So we've in the past just been working within the main method, which is the initial flow of our program. So what you'll see is that when we create our custom method, we'll then call it from our main method. So I'm going to create a public void print name method. So let's examine the header here of the method. So this first line, this is referred to as the header or the signature of the method. And it has some particulars. It starts out with the word public here. Public identifies the access level to this method. So it determines whether other classes are able to use this method or not. Public means that they can. If we put private in here, that would mean that they cannot. And protected would mean that only classes within the same library or same package could access this method. Followed by that is the keyword void. So that's the return type. So if our method at the end of doing its thing might create a return value of an integer or a string or a char, whatever the return type is, that would be indicated here. So if I were going to return an integer from this method, I'd put int there in the place of void. So void just indicates that there is no return value from this method. Then we have the method name. Print name is the name here, and then a set of parentheses. The parentheses are used to declare any parameters that this method can accept. And so we're not going to be accepting any parameters in this method, so we just leave the parentheses blank. So that's the signature of the method, and then the body of the method goes inside then of the curly braces. So we can write several statements within the curly braces, just like you've seen with other block elements. In this particular method, it's going to be very simple, just going to output to the screen hello, my name is Bill. So we've got the signature of the method, public void, print name, parentheses, then the curly braces. Inside the curly braces, a single statement, just simply output to the screen this text value here. Now to invoke that method, and this method I should also add is what we would call an instance method. So this method would be generated for each instance that you create of the class. So every new object, in other words, of this class that we create, would have its own version of this instance. Whereas if we had added the word static in the signature, that would mean that the method belongs specifically to the class, and any object instances created from this class would all share then this particular method. And so the difference is the keyword static indicates that it is a static method, and so it's part of the class, meaning shared by all objects. And that can be problematic if we were to put variables, local variables, inside of this method. Then that would mean that all these other objects would be sharing the same variables, and so one object changed a value in a variable. That means all the other objects would be affected by that. The same local variable is being used within all instances of the object. So that's a static method as opposed to an instance method where we don't have the keyword static in the signature. So let me kind of show you the difference here. Let's just actually start out with the static method. So So since it's a static method, really all I have to do now is to use that name that we assign to our method to invoke it within our program here. So we'll go ahead and run this. And you can see there we generate the output, hello, my name is Bill. Now if I remove the keyword static from the signature, now it's back to being an instance method. Notice we get the red squiggly here. So now what I have to do is I have to create an instance of our class first. So our class is GP 7A, and then we'll just call this the GP class, and that'll be equal to a new GP 7A. And then what I need to do then is take this instance name, GP, put it before the method name, so GP, and then use the dot notation to actually use or invoke that method. So you see the red squiggly went away, we go ahead and run it, and we get the same results. So that's the difference of a static method versus an instance method. When you're working with classes, it's common to use instance methods. Static methods can be problematic, as I identified earlier, because you'd have, if you create multiple objects from the same class, they're all sharing that same method, and any local variables that might be declared within that method would be affected by each of the instances that are created from the class. Now, when we're working inside of classes, there's a key word, which is the this keyword, that we can use when we want to reference our method that is the member of the class. So in other words, if I were to create another method here, let's name it say hello, and then in this method I want to call that print name method, I could use the this keyword. So I'm saying within this class use, and then whatever method we want to use, which in this case is our print name method. Now in order to run our say hello, now I'm going to go ahead and just make a modification here. Instead of calling our print name class, we'll call our print name method, we're calling the say hello method, which it calls then the print name method. So we'll go ahead and run it. There you can see again, same output. It's just this time from the main method, which remember that's the initial program flow. So it's going to create an instance of our class. We're going to call it GP, and then we, using that GP instance, we what they call send a message essentially to the object. We're saying, hey, object GP, go ahead and invoke your say hello method. And that's exactly what happens. It invokes this method here, and this method then, using the this keyword, says, well, within this object there's another method, in this case print name, go ahead and now invoke that method. So that's the sequence in which they occur as far as the program flow is concerned. For your guided practice 7A assignment, I want you to set up a program that'll take input from a user, asking them how many times to print your name. Then set up a for loop that uses your custom method for printing your name however many times the user has requested. And please be sure that you're using your name in your custom method. Don't use my name. So until next time, happy coding. If you liked this video, please click the like button and leave us a comment down below. I also would appreciate it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also click the notification bell so that you'll be notified when new videos are posted.